Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Games From Scratch, and today we've got some gaming news that is actually going to impact literally nobody. This isn't really major breaking news or anything, but it does have a heck of a conversation behind it because people are really polarized on it. So I decided I was going to cover this, especially because I covered the Unity game engine quite a bit on this channel. It is arguably the most popular game engine on Earth, and they just did a pretty big branding update. So first off, you'll notice if you're on Twitter, Unity is now Unity Games. That's kind of signifying that Unity is now a public company and is trying to get into film and engineering and all those other markets, but at the same time, they updated their branding. This means a new icon / logo and new wordmark. Those combined together, we now have this new logo. Again, unless you are, say, like myself, and you're creating thumbnails all the time, so you've got to use these updated logos, it's not going to impact you in any way. But some people really like what they've done. Some people really hate what they've done. And I ask you, of course, comments down below, do you like the new updated logo? So we've got a lot of nice details. They did a really great site on this, by the way, and Unity takes their branding really serious, as we're going to see in a second. Now, one of those things I want to say, think of some of the most iconic logos out there, especially if you think in like the world of automobiles. You've got things like the Mercedes three-pointed star. You've got the Toyota T made out of ellipses. And those are brands that are recognized. The BMW logo, recognized, hasn't changed in years. And then you have newer companies like Kia and Hyundai, which technically are the same company, and you'll notice they rebrand themselves almost constantly. And that is because a mature brand has more value than kind of an unknown one. So newer companies can change their brand up all the time. But the idea behind a brand is to have a consistent thing to you. So when you change it all the time, you have a fear of screwing that up. So here we've got the new reimagined Unity logo. So what they've done, they've gone 3D for sure. You can see what they've gone here. They finally capitalized the U in Unity. I've always hated the lowercase u in Unity, mostly because it made me making titles using their graphics really kind of tricky, because I had to keep the entire thing lowercase or it looked really weird. Now they have uppercased it, and I am a grammar person. I appreciate the uppercase look. They've also changed the font slightly, but the biggest thing here is this is now 3D, and what you can see is it's made of the 3 cardinal axes, like the X, Y, and Z. They've got 3D arrows pointing in each direction. You can also argue it shows them pointing in many directions because they don't have a damn clue where they're going anymore, which is also kind of funny. All right, so you see here they've gone fully 3D now. Technology, X-axis, Unity creators, Y-axis, incredible experience, they create the Z-axis, blah, blah, blah. You let a marketing person write a blog, this is the kind of stuff you get. But what they've basically done is made their logo more 3D. You can see the changes that were made in this animation here, and I do get the 3D axis thing. I also find this is really, really, really giving me a Silicon Graphics vibe. This you may remember from back in the day. This was an iconic logo, especially because it's like a trick for your mind when you look at it. Silicon Graphics always nailed the logo. And now I'm kind of seeing, again, Unity, Silicon Graphics, definitely an overlap in style there. And I know it's polarizing, but all told, to be honest, I like the new logo. I like the separation. I definitely, again, being strangely pedantic about this, I like that they uppercased Unity finally from the old logo. The word mark, you can see they've made very minor changes, but they've also made it kind of line up better. This is going to be easier for me to integrate into graphics. The old one didn't work that well with, integrating it into a sentence like I do with my title bars down below. This new update is definitely going to change that. They switched the font out slightly to give more consistent spacing. I will say straight out, the new word mark, definitely improvement. The new logo, probably an improvement in my opinion. And it's got enough homage to the original logo that it's not that bad. It does, again, give me a really heavy-duty SGI vibe from it, but I'll work with it. Now this is where they lose me. So what they're trying to do is brand off into a number of different products. Now, a lot of people think of Unity as having literally one product, and that is Unity itself. But they've got things like Mars, they've got the image app they bought, Forma, all these other things. Probably a lot of them aren't relative to you if you're in the world of game development. But here you can see where they went with their 3D logos, and these trigger me like you wouldn't believe. I'll get back to why in a second. Here they've got this cool animation of them turning from 3D stuff into the traditional logo, and basically what they've done is hollowed out a 3D cube. I find these exceptionally generic, unless they're animated. If they're animated, they're nice, but otherwise I'm getting a very Adobe vibe here. And what I can't stand is the alignment of the text, and it's inconsistent. So you see here, these are kind of left aligned off of the offset from the white space to the first line over here. But then you get into ones like this, and they're more center aligned. Center align all these. This left alignment is just driving me batty. They look stupid, in my humble opinion. I've remixed these logos. I'll show you that in just a second, what my personal preference for them would be. So that is the changes. And now we can actually look at what people think of the changes. Some people like them. Some people think basically, oh, you're public. Instead of fixing your engine, you're wasting this time. It's crap. Some people like it. Some people hate it. We got the early stuff. The early comments on were basically just all super, super negative. So again, I'm looking forward to the conversation down below. Do you care? Do you find this completely, who gives a damn? I would be curious, but we've got some comments that are definitely on the not negative. This might be the single dumbest thing you've done. Concisely zero reason to do this outside of internal company politics. Why weaken brand recognizability? Have you ever noticed the greatest brands keep their logo static or do small enough changes not to break recognizability? Now, I would actually sit back and say they're not that far off, other than the new updated like these ones here that I really don't like. These are awful in my humble opinion. I get them, but they look like the kind of design you would get out of 99 Designs or Fiverr or whatever, in my humble opinion. And they've got a very Adobe vibe. But as you can see from the comment, the mix on this are there's definitely a bit of a mix in terms of reception towards the updated changes. By the way, as I said earlier on, Unity is all about brand. So here you can see actually their branding site. You can get to it at brand.unity.com, and you kind of got a breakdown. Now this version I like. This the convergence of, remember that whole marketing speak thing from earlier on? I do love this whole meetings of a cube, and that's where their logo came from. I think that whoever did that was pretty slick, and I do appreciate the presentation they have done for things here. Now, if you're interested in getting new branding stuff, you can get the new branding assets right here. Again, another site completely dedicated to their brand assets. You can break it down here. Again, all of their various different logos are available. Now, interestingly enough, one of my favorite logos of the updated stuff is the one that they only recommend using for small sites. And that is down, so again, icon, word mark, register symbol. That's how it kind of breaks down. A little bit of detail about how the cube came about being. A little detail again about how the word mark came to be. Here are the variety of, these are the different variations of it for the small, single color, and so on. And then here is an in-editor icon, and it's got the axis bars actually on the inside. I like this one better, to be honest. If you took the edging and the shading from this one and added it to this one, that would actually be my favorite logo. And this actually harkens to the 3 axes because it's actually got the axes inside. This, in my humble opinion, is the logo they should have used. I like this one better. But I do agree with that one comment. I kind of started off the video with that I think the best brands out there either have a very static branding and they update it slowly over time, or they don't update it at all. Again, like the Mercedes 3-point star, Coca-Cola's logo, Target's logo, some of the most recognized, FedEx's logo. Now, there are some like Google who make small updates every once in a while, but their logo is about as dull as it gets. But what they've done is they've done their logo of the day thing, and that definitely helps. But here, this is my interpretation of how they should have done the icons. First off, I center justified them, and second, if you look closely enough, there's a bit of a hidden message in my updated version of their logos. If you can catch it or not, let me know in the comments down below as well. So that is it. Again, it's not really huge news, but it's definitely a point of conversation. Now, another thing that kind of goes here is Unity recently went public, and this just seems to be one of those things that public companies do. Now, let's not forget, Unreal Engine also updated their logo recently, and I got to say, Unreal used to have a very 90s extreme BMX rad kind of logo, so they kind of needed to do a bit of an update. They kind of got rid of a couple of the more XXX kind of aspects of their logo, and I get that. That's a small evolution over time. This one, Not really sure where I stand. I don't mind the logo. There's enough homage back to the old one. I do appreciate the capitalization. It seems like a very small, stupid thing to like, but I do like that. So on the whole, I see enough throwback to their old black and white logo. Yeah. I think their old logo was fine. I don't think this was a branding update they needed to make. But again, my personal opinion, their app icons, these are just terrible. It's basically, first off, align it to the center. That triggers me like it wouldn't believe. I'm curious, does that bother you too, these offset letterings from each of their different brands? I can't stand it. This really reminds me of, the generic Adobe logos they brought out a long time ago. And just trying to distinguish those in the icon bar, it's so annoying. Now, the good news is the vast majority of you only use one Unity product, so this isn't going to actually impact you in any way, shape, or form like the Adobe change did. But again, I am very curious to hear what you have to say about their branding update. You don't give a damn. You like it. You hate it. You like parts of it. You hate parts of it. Let me know. Comments down below, and I will talk to you all later. Goodbye.